Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Country Mora here. In my last video, I promised you guys that I'll be sharing a few things that I'll be starting for my fall garden. One of the main things that I'll be starting from seed for the fall garden is gonna be cabbages. So your brassicas, normally you start your brassicas about late July, mid-August, even up until late August. You have to start those brassicas for your fall garden if you're in central Florida and even some parts of North Florida. But this video is going to be dedicated mostly to gardeners in central Florida, and we can stretch it a bit of North Florida down to South Florida, because in South Florida you're going to want to come in a bit later than we do here in central Florida. With how the climate and weather is changing these days, South Florida is close to central Florida these days, so we're not too far off. So what I'm doing here, maybe in another 3 or 4 weeks, you guys in South Florida can be doing the same thing, or even now. But this is not to tell you guys in South Florida to start your brassicas right now at end of July. I'm just showing you guys what I'm doing, and this mostly goes for people in central Florida, as I've said. So brassicas, they love to grow in the cooler weather of spring and fall. So for us that is getting cooler here in central Florida and North Florida, and I'm not talking right now, we're going to start get cooler maybe in about October, mid-October going back. So that cool weather won't affect your brassica. That's what they like. With your brassicas, they don't need a lot of fertilizer like most fruiting crops in the garden is gonna need. They are very low maintenance. They need little to no pruning. So brassica is a good one for a new gardener or fall gardening overall, especially here in Florida. Our growing season for the fall months is going to be a long one for us. So we can start planting brassicas, like transplanting brassica, maybe about mid-October thereabout, and we're going to have a long brassica season right back until about April before cabbages and cauliflowers and things like that start dying out of our garden. And when I'm talking about brassicas, there's a confusion because most people, they only associate cabbages and maybe broccolis and a few other stuff in the brassica family. But you have things like turnip, we have broccoli here, these are all brassicas, mustard green, radishes, cabbages, which most people just think cabbages and maybe things like cauliflower are the only brassicas. And we also have arugula, and it's a long list. So many things come under the brassica family that most people don't even know that those things were a part of the brassica family. The brassica family is basically what we would think of in layman term or classic fall and spring vegetables. So most of the things that were plant in those cooler months, not all, but a lot of things, you would be surprised, they're in the brassica family. I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I'm going to be starting my cabbages for the fall months. Cabbages, they take about 60 to 100 days to be ready to harvest, and that 60 to 100 days, let me just correct that, that 60 to 100 days is from transplant. If you're going to be sowing it like what I'm doing here, cabbages, they're going to take about 120 days depending on the variety. And why I'm saying that is there's a thing called the maturity clock when you're planting your veggies or any plant. The maturity clock starts when you do that transplant, not when you sow the seeds. So when you look and they tell you that the cabbages, or you go on the internet and they tell you that cabbages take, depending on the variety, take 60 to 100 days to be ready, they don't calculate that time from seed to seedling when you should plant your cabbages. So that maturity clock starts when you plant, when you transplant that seedling, that sucker, into the soil. So it takes 60 to 100 days depending on the variety for your cabbages. Some may take less. So just depending on the variety, some early varieties can take 60 to 70 days, but in general, if you should just ask a farmer, plain old farmer, how long cabbages take, you're gonna tell you 2 months to 3.5 months. That's what you'll get if you go out in the country and just ask a farmer, and they're gonna give you off the cuff 2 to 3.5 months. Fall crops, they normally take a little longer to mature than spring crop, and this is true. Reason being, we have shorter days in the fall months, so the crops, you're going to shut down earlier. Growth is going to be slow. So normally your fall crop, most of what you're going to be planting, if it says it takes 30 to 35 days or so, just look for the fall season for it to take a bit more time for you to get a harvest. So I'm going to go ahead now, start sowing some cabbages in trays. And for the cauliflower and broccoli, these comes in way shorter, well, not way shorter, basically the same time as cabbages, but most variety for these, they're gonna be ready within 2 months. So I'm not gonna start my broccolis and cauliflower until about end of August, close end of August, yeah, about the 20th of August, thereabout. I'll be starting my broccolis and cauliflowers from seed, because I want to put these in ground in October also, but they don't do well with the heat as the cabbage can do. So the cabbage, you can get away with the heat with the cabbage, but for these things, they will bolt on you very fast. So they're good for fall planting, but you want to go a bit later than cabbages with most other brassicas. So cabbage is that brassica that you can start off a bit earlier in the warmer time, but even then I'm going to be starting these indoors, where you still can start them off in a shaded area if you want. For these, I'm going to wait out another 6 weeks or so before we start sowing these. So I'm just going to put these back, and then we'll be sowing our cabbages in these containers here. Here we are with our trays, and I have some medium in these trays. This is just basically potting soil. So regular potting soil from the store, this is what it is. Last fall I did a video on starter mix, showing you guys how to do a starter mix. If you want, you can go back to that video. However, for cabbages are very strong seeds. So if we were in a cooler time, and I'm going to get to that, I could have started cabbages in my grow bags or in my garden area just like that by seed direct sow. Reason why I'm doing this now, the time is too hot for them outdoors, so I'm going to start these, or I'm going to sow these and put them inside. I know you guys may be wondering if this is going to be enough cabbage for me and my family. No, this won't be enough. These trays only have 6 cells per tray, so I'm going to be getting 12 cabbage seedling. After I thin them out, I'm going to be planting 2 or 3 per cell, but then I'm going to be thinning them out, so I should get 12 cabbage seedling at the end. But what I'll be doing succession planting. Succession planting is just planting over and over, or in bound in different stages, so that I can have cabbages to be harvested over a longer period of time. So that's going to be my succession planting strategy. So with these, I'm going to be planting these today, which I think is the 21st of July, and in another 4 weeks I'm going to be planting 12 more. And with the long fall season, as I'm telling you guys, I can go again in September and plant another 12, because I can have cabbages up to about the end of April, early May in my garden, which I normally keep cabbages until May in the garden. So for every month up until maybe about November or December, I can continue to sow maybe 12 cabbage seed in some trays. I have enough trays. If you don't have enough tray, you can get some, or you can go ahead and put them in a flat. So let me show you what a flat is. Let me just get a flat and come back to you guys. So this would be considered a flat, and you will just put the soil, the medium that you have in there, the starter medium, and you will sow maybe your 12 cabbages in a row here for the first week, and then when you take out, you can go again. Or for these three, whenever you transplant, you just put back more soil in them and just start the next set. It's as simple as that. So whichever way, you can continue with your succession planting, but I wouldn't recommend any gardener, especially here in Florida where we have such a long grow season, to go ahead and just plant one set of cabbage in your garden for your fall season. You're just gonna have a big harvest, and if you don't know how to store them, that's just gonna be it for you. So do some succession planting. Every 3 to 4 weeks, you just put in a few seeds, and you know you have those to just continue harvesting throughout the fall, winter, and spring months. The next thing is gonna be your variety selection. So this variety here that I'm using, this is from Golden Acres, and it's a non-GMO heirloom. I normally use also Baker's Creek, but the Baker's Creek cabbages, they are much larger. The ones that I use, I don't remember the name of them. They are way much larger, and I tend to go for those later in the cooler months. So these can handle the warmer months when starting out, and also if I should put them in ground and I should have a few days in the fall that acts like summer, they will be good. For the larger cabbages, most time you will lose a lot of leaves off them, then they'll get stunted and it will take them a longer time to rebound. So let me just go ahead now and start putting in a few seeds. And guys, I don't have the Osmo Pocket 3 where I can easily show you guys close up. This is the Action 5 I'm using. So just know that for the seeds, cabbage seeds, you're going to want to sow them maybe about 1/2 inch deep. That's good. As I said before, they are strong seeds, so you can sow them 1/2 inch deep and they will germinate, or they will sprout. Because the germination process, most gardeners don't even know the germination process. So when you see a seed sprout, just know that it has sprouted. We don't want to get too technical. We're going 1/2 inch, and I'm going 2 seeds to a cell. In about October, thereabout, when I'm sowing that's going to be my 3rd batch. Those won't be going into these cells. I'm just going to direct sow them into the garden at that time. So this is going to be it. And now I have a few extra seeds in my hand. I'm not going to put these seeds back into this package that I have here. I'm just going to throw these seeds away. Maybe I'll just sprinkle them in the garden, and if they can sprout, germinate and sprout, I'll just allow them to germinate and sprout. But this is basically it. All I'm going to do now, I'm going to take these on the inside, water them. Within another 4 to 10 days, your cabbage seed should sprout. So you should start see those little green things popping out if you consistently water them. Keep the soil moist, don't drown them, don't oversaturate your soil, just keep them moist, and within 4 to 10 days you should get germination or sprout. If after 10 days you don't see anything, just go in again and add a few more seeds. It's as simple as that to start your cabbage seeds. I just wanted to share this one with you guys. I'm also going to take these inside and have them under the grow light. You don't have to have your cabbage seeds or your brassica seeds under grow light here in Florida. If you have like an open patio that is meshed where you won't have insects coming in to eat your cabbage seeds or your seedling, they won't really eat the seeds like that. But if you have an enclosed area that gets a certain amount of sunlight throughout the course of the day, you can put your cabbage seeds there or your seedling and water them. Just keep them moist and they should be good. When they start growing, allow them to dry out a bit and water like every other day. For fertilizer, these soil mix they don't come with a lot of fertilizer in them, if any fertilizer at all. I don't think they do a lot with these. But if you're going to fertilize, use organic fertilizer, something that won't burn. Or most organic fertilizers, they can burn if you put too much, but just use a little tip of fertilizer. Maybe if you want to go for a liquid fertilizer, you can go in and just use some soluble fertilizer. But for the cabbages, they just don't need a lot. They don't need fertilizer to start germinating. They don't need fertilizer for the growth process. But after you get that sprout and they started growing and have a few true leaf, then you can go in and put a bit of fertilizer in these containers, because they're going to be in these cells for maybe another 7 to 8 weeks. So you're going to want to help them out just a bit. So we're through with these cabbages for now. Next thing that you can start preparing for your fall garden, which you could have started maybe about 3 weeks ago, and that's hot peppers, bell peppers. You can start any one of those from seeds now to start putting in your garden. Or if you want, you can go to the store and get your peppers to start putting in your garden. For me, these are Scotch bonnet peppers, and it's not so easy for me to get Scotch bonnet peppers here in Florida. So I have my own and I just recycle. I know I only talk about growing your cabbages from seed. If you don't have the resources or time to start your cabbages from seed, no need to worry. You're in Central Florida or Florida, wait until October, maybe the second or third week of October. You just go to your big box store and buy a few cabbage suckers. Those will do well in your garden also. So you don't need to worry. You don't need to go through all of this that I'm going through. This is just gardening passion. If this doesn't match in with your convenience, just go to the store and get some seedling. No shame is in it. Get some seedling, start planting those suckers in October or November, whenever you want, throughout the fall months. But you will, or you should, get a harvest doing that same way. So it's the same result. Don't worry about it. I also want to let you guys know that you can start buying your scallions from your stores. Whatever store you buy, start getting your scallions in, cutting them, and start sticking them in the garden this time of year. You'll get some lovely scallions for your fall month. So that's going to be it from Country Morrow. God bless you all. See you in the next one. Happy gardening and cheers.